A knowledgeable best friend with the next phase of your journey, I'm here to help. Think of me as your pragmatic shaman bestie. I work with high vibe, lovely people like yourself in personalized sessions that will leave you with a sense of clarity that energizes you to make impactful change. Connect with me, your pragmatic shaman bestie, at Musings and Modalities.
Welcome to Passion of the Soul with me, Elena Lieberman, the new power hour for your consciousness. This is the space where you awaken to your authentic potential, the truth of who you really are. Here, we open the mind and heart and tune into the essence of the soul, the force that fuels your entire being and invites miracles into your life. Each episode inspires you to respond to the layers of potential within you and bring your unique legacy into the world. As you listen and watch, you'll discover that you can be the answer to your own quest. Get ready to tune into your innermost voice and live in alignment with your highest truth. Passion of the Soul starts now. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Elena Lieberman, and you are listening to Passion of the Soul on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us this hour and let us help you experience the new power hour of your consciousness every first and third Thursday of the month, 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. We will have some of the most brilliant artists, visionaries, healers, and authors who have walked miraculous paths right here to inspire you. Tonight is our second episode, and we've called it The Shining Moment. Change your life through hypnosis. I know I have more than enough. Access the wisdom you already have. Travel the hidden paths of the unconscious to awaken to your deepest wisdom through healing hypnosis. Realize a new experience of empowerment and performance that was dormant, yet always there, which you can bring out to the world of action. Free the old boundaries, soar into an expanded, liberated sense of who you are beyond anything you imagined. And tonight, we're bringing you our guest, Karen Ross, a board-certified hypnotherapist who also incorporates solution-focused coaching to help clients unlock their full potential, overcome limitations, and achieve significant change to reach peak performance. Welcome, Karen, to Passion of the Soul.
Well, thank you for inviting me to be here. It's my pleasure, and I'm excited for you in getting this show going, and congratulations on that.
Well, thank you so much. And I just want to move ahead and ask you this big pressing question that I thought of. Can we even fathom the layers and pathways to the conscious and unconscious? Can we imagine that or even know it?
We absolutely can. I think, though, that most people don't. Our good starting point is just pointing out, because some people don't realize it, that we have two minds. We have a conscious mind and we have a subconscious mind. That conscious mind is the one that talks to us all the time. And often its voice is not particularly supportive or kind. It can be downright mean. And the more we listen to that, we forget that we have a subconscious mind that is just sitting there waiting to serve us, to support us. In actuality, the subconscious mind is the most powerful, creative force in the universe.
That's
And
wonderful.
it really is. And if people only understood how much power their subconscious mind holds, and because they have that subconscious mind, they have the ability to control their subconscious mind and teach their subconscious mind how they want that mind to support them. Sadly, most of us never shut up long enough to even access our subconscious mind. So that's where hypnosis can step in and really, really help people tap into their subconscious.
Well, that's really wonderful news. So we're not lost out there
No, no,
somewhere.
no.
No. Oh, that's wonderful. But Karen, I want to tell you something. I'm going to give a testimony and a witness to what happened when I worked with you with two particular times. But I have something that just happened that you don't even know about.
Whoa.
So it took a while, but it's very interesting. So here is my witness and my testimony to working with Karen Ross. I went to Karen because I had, in particular, a physical ailment that occurred when I fractured the top of my leg as I fell in Zumba. And I did need a partial hip replacement for that. However, something else happened. It weakened the pelvic floor. So I went to Karen to get a cure for that. And so what I found, time went by, and suddenly something completely different started to happen to me. Yes, I'm the kook that weird things happen to. So the first thing that happened to me is that I was simply sitting quietly in a chair, and I suddenly remembered relationships from over 20 years ago, over 39 years ago, a lot of different relationships going back 20 years that I had blocked out of my mind. And not only that, now you may think that this is not possible to do, but I did it. And not only that, I was living with an impression about those relationships that gave me very low self-esteem. It made me feel unattractive underneath. I can't tell you. And that was a long time, years of relationships. And suddenly it's like I woke up and I realized, wait a minute, that's not what happened with those relationships. Those people were attracted. We had relationships. They didn't continue, but it was very positive. Suddenly, years of negativity was transformed into something really positive about myself. And I couldn't believe it. I thought, for this many years, I was an illusion. That's part A.
Okay.
Part B. Not that long ago. Let me say I went back to Karen, and she did something very interesting in her hypnosis. I'm easy to hypnotize. As you may know, I access the Akashic records. And Karen said to me, you know what? Start before our session, open your own Akashic records, meaning you connect into that layer of frequency, that consciousness. And then, as I recall, which may not be accurate, but as I recall, under hypnosis, she did a meditation with a different representation of the Akashic records. For me, it brought back tons of color, files, tapping into cells of brilliant colors, and it was like I was awakening. Then that finished. I was not aware that I had changed in any way. Then I had a dream, and in this dream, I thought I was fully awake and staring into someone else's eye, eyeball to eyeball, and from those eyes, I felt a great passion come over me, a great passion, and I started crying. I mean, crying. And I said, I cannot contain this amount of passion in me. I do not have the ability to contain this amount of passion inside of me. And then I woke up, and then I realized it was a dream. That was a dream. And yet, there were waves coming through me. And we're just going to hold for the break till I get through this testimony, I swear, and then we'll come back. I was overcome with tears, realizing that these waves of passion were coming from my soul. My soul. They were not passion in the erotic sense. It was a deeper realization. Then, quickly, the third part of this, unbeknownst to Karen, this past Sunday, February 15th, I woke up early, and I have to take medicine for my bones, and I take it with tremendous amounts of water. So Sundays weren't a great day for the pelvic floor for me. Let's put it in those words. And so I stayed in bed a little bit longer before I took that medicine. And during then, I went into a very deep meditation. And in that meditation, I was very still. I entered into a deep stillness. And I heard a voice. And the voice said to me, "It is I, God, who will heal you." And then there were biblical terms. It is I, not a fiery angel, not a seraph. It is I who will heal you. So I woke up. I had to take my medicine, go for my walk, drank lots of water. And I must tell you, for the first time in 7 years, I had no problem with that day as far as the pelvic floor issue was concerned.
Wow.
So this is my testimonial. And now I see that we do have to stop a little bit for a break. It's time to go on our break, but before we do, after that testimonial, I want everyone to get Karen's information. So when this witnessing is fresh on their mind. So Karen, please give your information.
Oh, it's real easy. My website is KarenRossNow.com. And there are various opportunities on the website to send me a message or to book a free conversation with me. Or they can email directly at info@KarenRossNow.com.
So Karen's really mastered a methodology. But you know what? As far as I'm concerned, it's Karen's spirit that makes her an exceptional healer who contacts the deepest part of your being. And I'm Elena Lieberman for a request for consultations and $50 off your first hour of an Akashic Record consultation. Go to www.dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. You're listening to Passion of the Soul. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will explore more about this fascinating topic of hypnotherapy and delving into the unconscious mind. Stay tuned, and we'll be back.
Welcome to Shanti Mission, a school for the soul. If you're seeking personal transformation, deeper spiritual awareness, sacred music, or the support of a welcoming community, Shanti Mission offers signature workshops and healing programs in a warm and inclusive space, designed for growth and connection. For more information and to access free resources, visit shantimission.org. Together, we can anchor peace.
Looking for more love, joy, and purpose in your life? Lisa Eve is here to guide you through intuitive support, healing, and soulful travel, she empowers you to embrace self-love as the key to happiness. Explore her book, The Love Channel, Finding Your Way to Happiness, available on Amazon. And find daily inspiration at thehappychannel.com. Start living your most radiant, joy-filled life today.
Have you had an experience you can't explain? A sign, a presence, a knowing that left you changed, but unsure who would understand? I'm Gina Gale Gray, and Weird Real Life Stories is more than a show. It's a sacred space to explore the mystical, the mysterious, and the deeply personal. Each episode features true tales that awaken intuition, validate soul signs, and open hearts. And now I want to hear your story. Visit anywheremindbodysoul.com to send me a request to share your experience on this show, or discover how we can work together to explore the meaning behind it. Tune in every first and third Wednesday at noon Pacific. Let's explore this mystery together. And if you're ready to go even deeper, my channeled book with my son Spencer, Listen to the Silence, Messages and Miracles from Spencer Who Never Spoke Words, is waiting for you at listentothesilence.org.
We remember a time when you could simply form a thought and it would manifest. The harmony was forgotten, but it is returning now. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia will take you on adventures through the heart and spirit, exploring who we once were and how to awaken that power today. Julia studied under the guidance of wolves, learning from their wisdom to master a higher frequency for new state of mind. Learn to master the secrets of manifestation. Visit OneTrueSelf.com.
We're back on Passion of the Soul with me, Elena Lieberman. My guest tonight is Karen Ross, who's talking with us about change your life through hypnosis. I know I have more than enough. Access the wisdom you already have. And just quickly, Karen, for new listeners, go ahead and give your contact information again.
Sure. They can email me directly at info@KarenRossNow.com, and my website is KarenRossNow.com. So they can get more information about me on the website and have several opportunities to send me a message or actually book an initial conversation.
Well, Karen, I gave the testimony and the witnessing.
You sure did.
And now, Karen, would you please interpret that for me? Because that was quite an experience on my part.
I would say so. And I want to thank you again, while everybody's listening, for a wonderful endorsement and testimonial. And one of there many things came up as I listened to you. And one of them, I think, is an important point to make. I tell people that change can take place in 3 different ways. It can be immediate. That happens sometimes. It's more likely to be gradual, depending on what the issue is, too. And also it can be retroactive. And that's what you talked about, that later, and in some cases, a long time after our session, you had an experience that definitely was brought about by our session. It just didn't happen immediately. Mm-hmm. And that's another way that the subconscious can show itself, because all of that information is in there. And we just sometimes have to quiet down enough to hear what knowledge it has, what memories it has all. When I hear people say, excuse me, when I hear people say, I can't remember that, if it's appropriate, I suggest that they say instead, I know the answer to that. It's just not here right now. Because we do know. That can come into play when somebody's going to take a very important exam, and they get so tense and they worry about whether or not they're going to know the answer. Well, they do know the answer. And if they can relax enough and allow the answer to come up to them, it is in there. If they've studied it and practiced it, it's there. So sometimes that stress can just keep the information from coming to us.
Well, Karen, many in our audience have seen hypnosis on a stage or as an act, but what truly is the distinction between healing hypnosis and stage hypnosis?
Well, I think there's a pretty obvious difference. Stage hypnosis is meant to entertain. It is a methodology that I don't fully understand. I've never studied it because it doesn't interest me. That isn't something I want to do. I want to use hypnosis for the healing and the supportive aspect that it can offer. So I don't see it as entertainment, and I can't explain in detail the specific difference because I haven't studied it. I don't like it, frankly. It makes people look silly, usually. And as I say, that's the intent. I'm told that people who do that kind of hypnosis have a keen way to identify the people who are going to be most susceptible, bring them up on stage, or I've also heard of street hypnosis. And again, the practitioner knows how to identify someone who just really wants to be hypnotized and doesn't care what they're told to do. They just want to be a part of the act, if you will. So I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't work because people have seen it work. It just isn't the way I choose to use hypnosis because it can be so healing, so beneficial.
Amazing. Karen, how do we dispel myths about hypnosis?
Well, and there are several. There are quite a few. I've heard people say, well, what if I get in a trance and I can't get out?
Yeah.
Well, that does not happen. And I think we use the term trance carefully because in actuality, we're all in some kind of a trance at different parts of the day. Whether we have a practitioner like myself that is guiding them into a particular trance, if you get involved in a book or a movie or a TV show that just fully takes you in, you're in a trance of sorts. And, you hear about people, and I know women will complain that their husbands don't respond. They're so engaged in maybe it's a football game or a TV show, and they say something that can't even get their attention. And they're in a trance. There's no question about it. When we get on an airplane, we'd better hope that our pilot is in a trance to fly that plane. It's a specific trance. That doesn't mean that he's going to be stuck in that trance or that we're going to be stuck in a trance where we're reading or watching something that really engages our attention. I'll give a good example. I was working with a woman, and I do tell people it's best to have your pets in another room because pets actually pick up the energy. And you never know exactly how they're going to react. Typically, they like the energy that they pick up if they can hear what's going on. But you don't know how they're going to react. So I was working with a woman, and she had, I had told her that, and we're right in the middle of the session. And all of a sudden, a cat climbed up right on her chest. Well, I mean, she knew it. It brought her out of the trance immediately. And she said, I'm so surprised because she had two cats. She said, I put them both in another room. I closed the door. But this cat knows how to open that door. And I've heard of that. Cats, I have a cat. She does some weird things, but I guess they can learn to turn a doorknob, whatever. But the cat was attracted to her. She picked up the energy. She wanted to be with her. She wanted to experience that. But it's an example of, she got up and she put the cat in the other room. She closed the door and she came back. And just very, very quickly, I was able to tell her, all you have to do is take a couple of deep breaths and you'll be right back where you were before. So you don't go into a trance that you can't get out of. I do not control another person at all. You're in total and complete control at all times. So that is certainly a myth. And can you think of any others that come to mind that I can dispel?
Well, there is some fear about it. Let's get back. Hold that thought, and we're going to take a little break.
Okay.
I'm Elena Lieberman, and we're listening to Passion of the Soul. When we come back, Karen Ross will talk more deeply about Change Your Life with hypnosis. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Elena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Passion of the Soul, where your truth comes alive.
If you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or in grief, I'm here to help. I'm Faye Lau, intuitive healer and founder of Faye Inspired Healing. Through soul-guided sessions, I help you reconnect with your body's wisdom and inner truth. Whether you're healing from loss, letting go of pain, or rising into elevated energies, my work combines energy clearing, grief support, and spiritual coaching. Schedule a session or learn more at FayeInspiredHealing.com.
There is more to life than simply surviving or even thriving. There's flourishing. High performance and quantum success coach Beth Larson helps you calibrate and elevate your life. Beth specializes in working with women who want more from their life, more energy, joy, passion, connection, and more meaning. As your coach, she will help you get clear about your life, prioritize what's important, and become a master of your energy. Visit BethLarsonCoaching.com.
You ever feel it? That whisper just beneath the surface, a deeper part of you ready to rise? At Aligned Energy, we don't just inspire change, we embody transformation. This is where high-performing women come home to themselves, where the masks fall away and the real you steps forward, powerful, radiant, and fully alive. This is Manon, energy alchemist, transformation coach, and best-selling author, guiding women leaders from burnout to purpose. Together, we will reconnect with your innate wisdom to clear energetic blocks and activate your eros and life force, awakening the sensual, sovereign self within. For the wild-hearted, for the ones ready to get clear, stop performing and start becoming. This is your invitation to rise and step into your power, purpose, and possibility. Visit AlignedEnergyHealing.com to book your exploratory call or session today.
We're back on Passion of the Soul with Elena Lieberman. I have as my guest Karen Ross, board-certified hypnotherapist who also incorporates solution-focused coaching to unlock full potential of clients. And we'll get to that in a moment about reaching peak potential, peak performance. But going back, I just wanted to share a very funny incidents about the trance. Now, working in the Akashic Records is an altered frequency. It's an altered state. So we get cats. And I remember with a whole group around me, a Siamese cat draped itself over my shoulders and would not leave my shoulders for 2 hours. So that's a cat experience.
Whoa.
Also in Argentina, There was a cat who stayed through all the consultations, and then when I was there with my sister, Ronnie Reisler, when I went to sleep, the cat slept on my head. So they felt that they were being very friendly to me. Cats love certain energy. So moving ahead, I did ask Karen, how do you describe a trance? What's the definition of a trance?
Well, when you open someone's records, you absolutely are in a trance. I think people tend to maybe have a perception of what a trance is, and they figure, people have their eyes kind of glazed and that guy. That's not necessarily the case. You can pull into a parking lot, and you'll have arrows telling you which way to go and how to park and so on. That's designed to put you in a certain trance. And you follow those guidelines, and it just puts you into a certain trance to park correctly and safely. It's designed that you'll follow a certain pattern. But a trance is in hypnosis, is where we quiet that conscious mind, as I referenced in the beginning, that we don't tell it we don't need it anymore. We just tell it that it can be quiet for a while. And we do certain things to just bring people into a state of deep, deep relaxation and signal the subconscious mind to be alert. And as I've mentioned, if you kind of envision your subconscious mind just sitting there waiting, and it wants to do its job, but it's not going to do that unless we invite it and make it easy and create the environment or the setting for the subconscious mind to reveal itself and to access its power. So in hypnosis, that would be a trance. You brought up an interesting point. You said that you go into trance very easily. And it's true. Some people do very, very quickly. And it's very obvious. And in other people, it just takes a longer time. Doesn't mean they can't be. They can fight it and say, I don't want to go into trance. Well, they shouldn't be working with me. They probably don't really want to accomplish what they think they want to accomplish anyway. Willingness is a big factor. And belief that it can work, belief that it can help. In fact, this afternoon I was putting something together for some athletes, and I think you mentioned I do a lot with sports hypnosis, and it's very, very effective. Some of our most famous athletes have acknowledged using hypnosis, and that's been a critical part of their fame, their career, and their success. But I lost my train of thought for a second. There was a famous athlete who made the comment, if you believe it works, it works. So that, if you come to me and say, well, I don't think this will work, then I don't know why you're here. So.
Well, you do specialize in working with athletes and performance. So what is the tremendous benefit that is achieved? And also, what is the transformation in their beliefs, their awareness, and their winning actions? What happens to those athletes?
Much as we admire, right now we've got the Olympics on, and, we watch some of those performances, and I am anyway, just so amazed at what some people can do with their physical body. But they almost all, you will hear them say how much of their performance is mental. And we have this skater who just has achieved such wonderful success at a very early age. And he had the worst performance one night. And I think everybody just felt so sad for him. But he made the comment, he said it was mental. I don't remember his exact words, but his body was ready. He'd already proven that his body knew exactly what to do. His muscles knew what to do. And if they didn't do that, then it was up here. And it could have been fear. Can I do it again? I've done it so many times. What if I can't do it this time? Those are the thoughts that creep into athletes, no matter how good they are. Often that will happen after injury, after loss. If they're on a team sport and their team loses and they feel like they had any part of that loss, they have some difficulty coming back. This young skater I'm referring to, and he's just one very, very small example of somebody having a really bad performance. There's going to be a part of him now. I hope he does reach out to a hypnotherapist, a mental coach, somebody to help him not have that thought that, oh my God, it's such a dismal performance. What if I do that again? Those are the kinds of thoughts that creep up no matter how good somebody is. And I've worked with people who are athletes who are coming back from injury, and they feel like they're ready. And, maybe they're told by doctors and others they're physically ready. But there's a part of their mind that says, will I be as good as I was? What if I injure myself again? Mm-hmm. Very typical doubts, but we can deal with those.
So in contrast, which cases come to mind that are outstanding athletic performances or performances that you have worked with in your therapy? Just give one, for example.
Well, there are so many.
Well, give a couple.
But there's one I just love, and I'm going to just mention one quickly, and then this other one. One is a 15-year-old who is a runner, and his performance just increased dramatically because he changed his words when he got to a certain point.
Wow.
But a story that I really love is at the other end of the age range, and it's a retired physician who was focusing on his golf game. And he said, I just want to golf a better game. I golf every Friday with the same guys. I just want to get better and better. So I asked him what his dream score would be. And he gave me a number, and then he laughed. He said, I will never golf that score. And we just kind of laughed. And I said, well, let's just use that number for fun. We'll just work in that direction. And we did. And he ended up changing his positioning, his stance. He used different clubs. He made a lot of changes. And he said, my game is improving. Well, I didn't talk to him for a long time. It was about 6, maybe 7 months later. I got a text from him. And he was in his golf clothing, holding up his scorecard. He had golfed the score he said he would never be able to golf.
Well,
and he told me later that he said, I did it again the next day. And then a few weeks later, he emailed me. He said, I not only golfed that score, I golfed a score 1 point better. So that's a perfect example of a combination of gradual, retroactive, and obviously belief had to come into play somewhere along the line, even though he said, well, I'll never golf that. So I love that story. I love that story.
Right. That's a great example. Karen, we're going to take a little break. Okay. Please give your contact information to our listeners again.
info@KarenRossNow.com. Email me directly, or you can go to that website, KarenRossNow.com, learn a little bit more about me and connect with me there.
And we're going to take a break, but before we do, I want you to know that when we come back, Karen is going to do a powerful meditation for us. So stay tuned. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Elena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, On Transformation Talk Radio, I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Passion of the soul, where your truth comes alive.
If you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or in grief, I'm here to help. I'm Faye Lau, intuitive healer and founder of Faye Inspired Healing. Through soul-guided sessions, I help you reconnect with your body's wisdom and inner truth. Whether you're healing from loss, letting go of pain, or rising into elevated energies, my work combines energy clearing, grief support, and spiritual coaching. Schedule a session or learn more at FayeInspiredHealing.com.
There is more to life than simply surviving or even thriving. There's flourishing. High performance and quantum success coach Beth Larson helps you calibrate and elevate your life. Beth specializes in working with women who want more from their life, more energy, joy, passion, connection, and more meaning. As your coach, she will help you get clear about your life, prioritize what's important, and become a master of your energy. Visit BethLarsonCoaching.com.
You ever feel it? That whisper just beneath the surface? A deeper part of you ready to rise? At Aligned Energy, we don't just inspire change, we embody transformation. This is where high-performing women come home to themselves, where the masks fall away and the real you steps forward, powerful, radiant, and fully alive. This is Manon, energy alchemist, transformation coach, and best-selling author, guiding women leaders from burnout to purpose. Together, we will reconnect with your innate wisdom to clear energetic blocks and activate your eros and life force, awakening the sensual, sovereign self within. For the wild-hearted, for the ones ready to get clear, stop performing and start becoming. This is your invitation to rise and step into your power, purpose, and possibility. Visit AlignedEnergyHealing.com to book your exploratory call or session today.
Welcome back. I'm Eleanor Lieberman with Passion of the Soul, and our guest tonight is Karen Ross, board-certified hypnotherapist. And Karen, would you go ahead and share your information again, please?
Sure. They can email me directly at info@KarenRossNow.com or visit my website, which is KarenRossNow.com. They can reach me through there.
And if you'd like to contact me for our special listeners discount of $50 off your first hour of the Akashic Record consultation or attend our level 1 class at the end of the month, go to www.dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. So now, in our last segment of our show, Karen is going to do a meditation to illustrate how effective hypnosis can be in reaching an altered state of consciousness. So go ahead, Karen, with...
Sure. I'm just going to encourage all of the listeners to get as comfortable as they can, wherever they're sitting or if they're lying down, whatever, and to take a couple of deep breaths and maybe close their eyes. I think it's time to close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, that does signal your subconscious that you're going to a different place for just a short period of time. So as you close your eyes, take another deep breath and just feel that relaxation just travel right down your body. And I want you to envision you're standing at your kitchen counter, and there's a big cutting board. Sitting next to the cutting board is a very, very sharp knife. And in your non-dominant hand, you're holding a lemon. You squeeze that lemon just a little bit, just enough to know that it's full of juice. And you take the lemon, you place it on the cutting board, pick up that very, very sharp knife, and you cut the lemon in half. And as you do that, that juice that you felt just oozes out of the lemon onto the cutting board. And you just look at it for a moment. And I'm going to guess that most of you are starting to feel saliva forming in the back of your mouth. So you may now want to swallow if your mouth feels like it's full of saliva. You may want to swallow a couple of times. And the point here, and we can experience it that quickly, is you know there was no cutting board, no knife, no lemon. But if you felt any sense of saliva in the back of your mouth, that's your subconscious mind. So it not only shows you how powerful your subconscious mind is, that it can actually create a physical experience, and that it can be accessed that easily, that quickly. So now you can take a deep breath, open your eyes, and I wish we could see our audience, all of our listeners, because my guess is most of them would nod their heads or raise their hand that yes, indeed, there was saliva. And it's just a great way to experience how powerful our subconscious mind is.
Not only that, I thought I was eating the frosting on a cupcake. That's what I wanted to taste.
Oh, you wanted me to do that? Well, I couldn't.
No, that's what happened to me with the lemon.
Oh.
I was tasting the frosting on a cupcake.
Nice. See, you have a very creative mind. So you took it one step further.
Yes. Well, let me ask you something about these different layers of consciousness, Karen. Do clients move through different layers of consciousness and awareness? And the next question is, are those in the deepest states of consciousness the ones who get the best results?
Oh, that's a great question. And it doesn't matter. People, and I work with some people for an extended period of time. Some we just do a group of sessions and they move on, and they maybe come back later with another issue. But then I have others, and that's partly because of including the coaching, that choose to work with me on a regular basis. I will recognize, and they will too, that from one week or one session to another, that how deep they go into trance varies. And so it may not be just with an individual and what they experience, but it will vary from person to person. You brought up earlier, you said something about, and I remember the first time I worked with you, and you said, now I have to warn you, I go under really quickly. And you did. I mean, it was like that. And I think I was probably just kind of learning the craft, if you will. And you were allowing me to practice with you. And I think there was a part of me that said, well, my gosh, what do I do now? because you went to that place so quickly. And I just tell people it really doesn't matter how deep you go or how light the trance is. The impact can absolutely take place either way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, Karen, are there affirmations or prayers or other techniques people can use on their own to access a fuller, abundant life experience and during and after a consultation or sessions with you?
Excuse me. Sure. That it never hurts. The subconscious mind loves repetition.
Oh.
And familiarity. And of course, familiarity comes from repetition. So while I may not prescribe certain affirmations or statements, a client and I may come up with one that is beneficial for them. I had an athlete recently who, when they were in their sport, they would reach a certain point where they would become aware of being exhausted, their legs hurt, and in their mind they said, I don't think I have it. I don't think I have what it takes to finish this. So in that case, we changed those words so that when he started to say, I don't think I have what it takes, that he would instead say, I have more than enough to finish this. So that, yes, that was an affirmation. And he reported after a particular event, I couldn't think of the right word, after a particular event, he did report to me. He said, this is what I scored, and I had plenty left over. So it worked. Great. I mean, he met his goal, and he still had energy left over. So yeah, affirmations can work. I think just to give somebody a list of affirmations, I don't do that. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I think determining exactly what you want to accomplish and framing an affirmation and then repeating it over and over and over absolutely can work.
So quickly, Karen, what would you say is the best case, the case that you felt the person healed the most, if anything comes to mind?
Wow. Worked with a little girl, and I don't necessarily promote working with children, but I've had parents come to me and I've worked with children. And I did work with a little girl that, and she was kind of resistant, actually. But I found out later that a change had taken place. And she was probably young enough that maybe she didn't even realize, what was happening. But, things like that just make my soul feel good.
Yes.
When I know that someone has, and I have to say, I have multiple testimonials where people have had experiences that for them have been life-changing. And that's certainly my mission, my goal is to help someone. And I don't do that. I help them do it. I help them because they have the ability, the power, the subconscious mind. It's all there, and I just help them access it.
That's wonderful. And my closing message is really underscoring what you're saying. It comes from my book, The Principles of Dynamic Manifestation, as received through the Akashic Records. Loving and honoring the intrinsic wisdom from your core brings reward and fulfillment far beyond any external recognition. So thank you, Karen, for your heartfelt sharing, your amazing abilities with us tonight. And quickly give your information again.
Well, first of all, thank you. And just info@KarenRossNow.com is the best way to just email me directly, and we'll take it from there.
And to connect with me for classes or consultations, it's www.dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. And I want to thank you all for tuning in to Passion of the Soul. I had a wonderful time with Karen Ross. And please join me the first and third Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Next time, March 5th, our guest will be the brilliant John Fitzgerald, who has a new book out on Amazon called From Logic to Logos, Consciousness, AI, and the Future of Being, discussing AI and the human consciousness. Good night, and thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being with us today. I'm your host, Elena Lieberman. Be sure to tune in every first and third Thursday night at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio for more Passion of the Soul, where we connect with brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries who have walked miraculous journeys. Continue the experience at dynamicmanifestation.com. And if today moved you, share the show and like us on social media so others can awaken their authentic potential too. Until next time, listen deeply, trust your innermost wisdom, and live your passion of the soul.